Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Energy, brought to you by Moneda Africa. We are live from the International Convention Center in Cape Town for the 2024 Africa Energy Week. I am Sonela Dos Santos, your host today, and today we'll be unpacking all things energy with Ejike Ebuagu, CEO of Moneda Invest Africa. Welcome and thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell me, what is the local content finance climate looking like in Africa currently?
Well, I think we have made some progress, in terms of local content. Many people think that local content is essentially us versus them, in terms of the indigenous communities versus the foreign investors.
Yeah.
It's not. It's really about collaboration, about how we make sure we align our incentives, our rewards, our returns. Investors come into Africa with a lot of capital and skills, coming for resources, and other great things. And we just have to work hard to make sure that as they benefit, from the resources, we also benefit from expanding our markets and our skills and our wealth, we've had a lot of challenges in that on the continent, and that's why you see that, even though crude oil prices go up, in some countries we don't have petrol.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
There have been some gains in terms of, in Nigeria, for instance, you see a lot of indigenous producers of oil, which is a thing to be proud of. But there's a lot more work to do. We need more Africans making pipes, valves, equipment, all the things that we use. We don't have to import everything. So it's a long journey, to building capacity and ability to do these things.
So basically, Africa together, we can do a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that we're preaching at Moneda is African content.
Yeah.
We think that the concept of African content is way more superior than local content.
Yes.
And that's why we're here. We're so passionate about Africa Energy Week. Because the rhetoric here is more collaborative, and it's not Nigeria competing against South Africa, or against Namibia. It's really about how we pool our resources, because the global market is really where the battleground for, competitiveness is, not between African, nations. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And what challenges are you currently facing with the sector, and how is Moneda actively combating the challenges?
Just to step back a little, Moneda is a local content financier.
Okay.
And that's really our involvement in this journey of local content and establishing African content. And we found in 8 years of financing, local contractors on the continent, that the problem is not always cash. It's not always about money.
Yes.
Or capital. Even though that's a big problem for local contractors getting access to finance from banks. But we found that 50% of the problem is actually capacity and execution. So we spent time building, in-house capabilities of supporting local contractors, both with capital and with execution support.
Yes.
So what that looks like is you get a contract to supply pipes to Total, for instance, and you pick up the phone to call the supplier in Japan, and you don't get an answer, because they think you're calling from a developing country or something like that.
Yes.
We are able to step in and provide these bridges of communication and guarantees that give our people the credibility to do these trades. So one of the things that we've done as well to surpass some of these challenges is raising more capital. We don't have enough financial institutions focused on local content, with the kind of firepower required. So this year we launched our first African Content Credit Fund, with the first tranche of $250 million, essentially earmarked specifically for local contractors. And we're very proud of this initiative. We're using that to propel African contractors into different African markets, pushing competitiveness and expanding markets.
That sounds like a very promising project.
It is. It's daunting,
Yes.
you know, but we think that it's a great thing to spend our time doing. The impact of that will be transformational. You
Yes.
know, we look at specific types of SMEs that we think should be backed. You know, it's great to have SMEs selling toilet paper, you know, and selling, you know, toothpaste and things. It's really great. But we think the kind of SMEs that must be backed in Africa are the ones producing things that we need. All right, for industrialization, for the actual expansion of our market. Those are the guys that we back, you know, with our credit.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. And tell us, you just launched a new product yesterday, MUSA, correct?
Yeah, MUSA right here.
MUSA.
Yeah, so MUSA is something I'm very passionate about personally. I'm a big fan of African history and art, you know, and I think that few things give us more pride in our history than the story of Mansa Musa. You know, it takes us back to a time where, you know, the world, you know, literally was coming to Africa with all respect because of the massive amounts of wealth, you know, and prestige, you know, that came out of the Mali and the empire ruled by Mansa Musa. So it's really us just paying homage to that, and telling ourselves that it is possible within our lifetime for us to have that sort of, you know, prestige again. But it depends on what we do with our natural resources. If we sell it or if we use it to develop ourselves. And MUSA essentially is a technology platform where contractors from around Africa, you know, can log on and get funding for their contracts, get evaluated very quickly, and get support faster than they can probably get from their banks. You know, and that's essentially what MUSA is. We launched yesterday. Already we've had logins from about 9 countries on the continent. The team is waiting for feedback. It's just the first step. You know, we know it's a long road, but we've taken the step and we're committed to, like, you know, see through.
Okay, no, that sounds very exciting. Can't wait to hear more about it and to see the growth of MUSA in the near future. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're very privileged to have you here with us, and we hope to see you again in the next Africa Energy Week 2025.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.